The authorities described it as one of the worst fires they've ever seen. When Natasha Johnson-Mall and her partner Karlo Bogdan and their 2 dogs died in a blaze started by a second-hand electric bike battery. Karlo had bought the battery online to convert his normal bike into an e-bike and were unaware of the deadly risks.
In a moment, we're going to speak to Natasha's sister, Ehsia, who is warning others about the dangers of e-bikes and the potentially fatal risk of their batteries. First, though, let's speak to Nick Dixon. Nick is at an electric bike shop in East Sussex. Nick, why are people using these conversion kits if there is a risk of fire?
Hi, Susanna. I think ultimately it comes down to just a lack of awareness of how dangerous these online kits can be, but also about saving money as well. Buying a new e-bike ready to ride can cost several £1,000s. This one has a lithium battery neatly tucked away inside the frame. Others here have a huge battery which you safely charge indoors and then just slide into the back. There are others here that, again, cost thousands of pounds but are much more sophisticated. But to save money, people will consider buying these online conversion kits where you will get this DIY kit here to add on to your regular bike with a battery. But the question is that battery and is that kit adhering to the UK safety standards? And is it necessarily safe? Is it a compatible battery? These are the questions you have to ask. Let's have a chat with Matthew, who's been running the bike shop here for over 40 years. Morning, Matthew.
Hi, Nick.
What are your concerns about these online conversion kits that are available pretty cheaply as well?
Well, the most important elements that in a sophisticated, good quality battery, there'll be what is called a battery management system inside. That talks between the battery and the charger. If there's a fault with the battery, it won't allow the charger to charge it and it won't allow the user to use it on the bicycle. It puts the battery to sleep, basically. On cheap batteries, you won't necessarily have these safeguards in place. So you've got no safety between the charger and the battery. If you connect a cheap battery that's got a potential fault with a charger, it won't pick up the fault. It will become unstable and can potentially catch fire. And a lithium-ion battery, when it catches fire, burns intensely bright and strong and is very difficult to put out.
OK. As much as you are going to save money, thanks, Matthew, you do have to think really carefully, Susanna, about these DIY install kits to make your regular bike an e-bike.
Nick, thank you. Well, I mean, someone who knows that intensely is Ehsia, because Ehsia's sister, Natasha, died in an e-bike fire back in November, and alongside her is Annette Carrington from the West Midlands Fire Service. You attended.
I did. I attended to carry out the investigation into the cause of the fire.
And it was caused by?
It was caused from the failure of the lithium-ion battery pack associated with the e-bike that Karlo had used.
Ehsia, absolutely devastating loss for you. You lost your sister, her partner, the 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Just tell us about what happened that night.
Natasha had just left me 4 hours before, dropped off a curry, said goodbye, love you, see you in a few hours, went to pay her toenails. And then I was on the way to get my prescription and had loads of phone calls and I was just ignoring them because I thought I just want to listen to my music. And then that's when they had told me what had happened. So I then just went straight to the scene and then just was horrified. Absolutely heartbroken, in disbelief.
Devastating, absolutely devastating.
It's indescribable.
And you want other people to know that what you witnessed that night, what you're experiencing now, just, you know, only a few months on, is the result of someone using the wrong bit of kit.
Yes, exactly. And it's very upsetting and hard to accept that. I think, in my opinion anyway, this could have been prevented had more awareness been raised around the time of Natasha's death, because Natasha and Karlo, there was no way they would have plugged that bike in. I think the pain is torturing. It's torturing pain. It makes me physically uncomfortable in my own skin to experience a pain like it. And to just think of Natasha and how she spent the last few moments of her life is just vile. Yeah.
Of course, it's impossible to imagine what you've gone through, but also you're being so brave, wanting to talk about this.
Thank you.
To help other people to understand. Well, let's be honest, your sister and her partner didn't understand. I think what's the one message you would send to people who are thinking about converting their bike?
One message is don't convert the bike. If you have not got the money to pay for a reliable source to produce that bike for you, then don't own one. It is as simple as that. It's not safe to convert. There's lots of risks associated with conversion kits, battery compatibility, everything like that. So just
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Because it's just not it's not worth the trauma that it causes.
And that we're so used to in our lives plugging things in.
Yeah.
You know, we charge our phones. You might charge a portable hairdryer. You know, we have the TV plugged in, but we charge things all the time. There's something about these batteries on these bikes which is different, that they have. It's not just that they might be faulty, but also they have the potential to be incredibly powerful if things go wrong.
That's right. So basically what you have is a lithium-ion battery, and like you say, we use them every single day. In most of our electrical appliances, we use them safely. And we do that because they're bought from reputable sellers and we're using them in instructions with the manufacturer's guidance. The issue with conversion kits and battery packs for e-bikes in particular is you've not just got one battery. So you've got one battery that may start to fail, and within a battery pack you could have up to 80 to 100 additional cells, and when one fails, it can cause a chain reaction that causes every single subsequent cell within that pack to fail. So you get a really, really quick fire that can spread, reaching temperatures 600 to 1,000 degrees almost instantaneously.
There's a phrase for it, isn't there?
Thermal runaway.
And a thermal runaway just means it suddenly totally kicks off and goes wild.
It just means that the critical failure point within the initial battery cell has been reached. So it's actually supposed to be like a safety mechanism where it vents, so none of the pressures within the battery can continue to build up with the heat. Unfortunately, because of the extreme heat that it actually that happens, that's a trigger for the remaining batteries to also fail devastatingly.
And it also, you know, as Ehsia knows to her, you know, personal cost, it also creates a fire which is incredibly intense.
It does, yeah. So these fires spread rapidly because the initial gases that are emitted from the battery pack, they're toxic and they're explosive as well. So the environment that it creates when they start to fail means you have a really rapidly spreading fire, unfortunately, because of the set of circumstances in relation to Karlo and Natasha's incident. It was charged at the base of the stairs. It was right in front of the only exit point because they had a first floor maisonette, and the factors just meant that they had very little time to actually do anything when they heard their smoke alarms actuating at 10 to 5 in the morning. They were both sound asleep.
So the smoke alarms
The smoke alarms did actuate, yes. So they did actuate, but like I say, the fire was that intense.
They couldn't
The fire reached upstairs in a matter of seconds, and then registered them disabled. They no longer worked.
How does anybody know if they've got a battery like this? Because Karlo got a UPP U004-1. It's been the subject of a second recall last month by the Office for Product Safety and Standards following the couple's inquest. The government says these batteries have been linked to multiple serious fires. An initial warning had gone out in January last year in a bid to stop online marketplaces from selling them. But Karlo got one of these batteries, unwittingly, not realising, from Facebook Marketplace. You want no one to buy anything like this because you don't want anyone to be in this situation.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Do not buy one from an online marketplace of any sort because Annette will reiterate, you don't actually know where that battery's come from. People can rebrand the batteries and put their own branding on the batteries, which I think is one of the things that Annette discovered. So dangerous. They make statements such as can't cause a fire, and that's inaccurate.
So even yesterday, so on my way down here yesterday, so I had a quick scout on the internet just to see, and I found a converted e-bike with an UPP battery for sale.
The same battery?
On exactly the same battery. So it's got 15 watches. It's in one person's basket. And this...
It's really bad.
It's happening everywhere.
Can the conversion kits ever be safe?
The conversion kits can be safe, but again, you have to go to a reputable manufacturer or an e-bike specialist to go and get them fitted. The issue is...
Don't buy it online and do it yourself.
Exactly, but there are so many tutorials on YouTube. If your e-bike doesn't work, you can literally just log on and they'll give you instructions on how to do it. In Karlo's case, he'd also tried to fix a problem with his bike. So if we think of all of the guidance that we give, everything on the Be Safe, Buy Safe, Be Safe campaign with gov.uk, he was just unaware. He was completely unaware. So if anything can come from this, it's just increasing the awareness for the public out there just to do your research, follow the guidance in relation to the safe use and charging of e-bikes.
So it sounds like if you Google Buy Safe, Be Safe,
yes,
that will give you accurate advice on what you should buy and shouldn't buy.
Absolutely.
Because we do not want any other family to experience what you've experienced.
But it can't bring back your lovely sister, can it, Ehsia?
It just can't. So everyone's been very lovely, trying to look after me, and I just reiterated that the worst has already happened, unfortunately, and to think of how she spent the last few moments of her life is just indescribable. It just makes me feel very uncomfortable in my own skin, thinking about things all day, every day, having nightmares. It's just... there are no words that will come close to it. It's just horrendous, and this could have been prevented, as I said before, if there was information more readily available. She was so sweet, so kind, looking forward to Christmas. The dogs are beautiful. Karlo was a gentleman. It's just so
it's
devastating.
driving you on, but it's driving you on, isn't it? Those memories.
Yeah, it is driving me. I'm struggling a bit just because of the impact of it and the shock. But I believe that the more opportunities we are given to spread awareness, the better it will be. And actually, that may not mend anything, but it might put a sticker over some of the pain that we're experiencing.
I should speak out so well on behalf of your sister and her partner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the message will save lives. I mean, we know that. Yeah.
If we can just increase awareness, and hopefully I'd never have to go and investigate another fire. That's the aim, just to make everyone safer.
Well,
thank you both so much.
The two of you coming on today will be doing that.
Thank you.
Now.
Thank you.
Lots of love.